This will be the second step or second video that we've put together for change of position from a distance. If you remember from part 1, we give the command, we wait that half-second pause, then we enter the reinforcement event. That event is not over until the dog does the behavior. The moment they do the behavior, depending on where we are in the training, we mark and then we reward. With this style of training, this works really nice if you have a training partner to help you out. There's going to be one person that is giving their dog commands, and then you're going to have the second person reinforcing the behavior using leash pressure. So in order to do this, you want to make sure your dog is conditioned to their markers. That's going to be the word or sound that predicts a reward. Now, a marker by definition predicts one of the 4 quadrants of operant conditioning. That's positive and negative reinforcement, positive and negative punishment. You need your marker that predicts positive reinforcement so you can let your dog know when they did it correctly, since you're going to be at a distance. You also want to have a marker that predicts negative reinforcement. For me, I use the word wrong. When I tell a dog wrong, that means I'm going to take the leash and I'm going to guide them back into the position that I want them to be in. I could also use my body presence by walking towards a dog, or even just using my hand to guide them back into position. The idea is that when we say wrong, we're basically telling the dog, hey, I'm going to show you what I want you to do. Wrong, the way that I use it, is not a punishment. Again, it predicts negative reinforcement, which is when we turn pressure on, the moment they comply, we turn it off. So the second person is going to be using the leash to guide the dog into the position. Once the dog is in the position, the handler is going to mark with their continuation marker. The continuation marker just predicts a reward. It doesn't change the dog's circumstances. So the trainers that I'm working with, they're doing what's known as the implied stay, meaning when we place a dog into a commanded position, the stay is implied. You don't have to go stay. If I tell a dog sit and they sit, they're in a sit stay. So we're going to bring the first trainer out and we're going to show you exactly how to do this exercise.
Have you ever wondered why I like BarkBox so much? First, the value is unbeatable. Each BarkBox bursts with goodies that your dog will love. 2 plush toys, 2 bags of wholesome treats, and yummy chews. When you go for the plan that I personally recommend, that's the 12-month subscription, the daily cost ends up being less than your morning cup of coffee. That is a small price to pay for the sheer joy that lights up your dog's eyes every time they see a new BarkBox. Second, the convenience is a game changer. Simply sign up and BarkBox takes care of the rest. A personalized BarkBox crafted with your dog's dietary and allergy preferences in mind lands on your doorstep each month. It couldn't be easier. Third, BarkBox is the triple threat of dog rewards. With treats, toys, and affection galore, it is a win-win for dog training. The treats and toys are perfect rewards during training sessions. BarkBox serves up fun themes and exciting features. This month, they're celebrating summer with a free gift. For a limited time, you could pick up one of 4 FUNBOY best-selling water toys, helping your pup beat the heat in style. Choose from a yacht pool float, a plain pool float, a fire hydrant sprinkler, or my dog's and my own personal favorite, the splash pad. Don't leave your dog waiting. Head over to BarkBox.com and sign up today. Check out the link in the description. Now let's get back to training.
The very first thing that we want to do is you want to make sure whoever your helper is can get the dog to do the behavior. Remember, anytime we're starting with something, we want to focus on what we want the dog to understand. So right now, I want Chapo to know to follow the leash even when I'm doing it. Since Beatrice trained Chapo on leash pressure, it doesn't mean he's going to know leash pressure with everybody. So we have to make sure that he knows how to follow it when your helper is working with you. So very first thing, I'm going to guide Chapo into a down, and then she's going to mark.
Yes.
And then come back and reward. Yes is her continuation marker. I'm going to lift Chapo back up.
Yes.
Same thing, she marks. So we're making sure I can have him do his sit down and his stand. Stand's a little harder, so he's going to jump off. That's very common when we're first working this. So I'm going to bring him back into the sit, and then I'm going to bring him forward a little bit. Good.
Free.
And we're going to guide him back. The stand is a little difficult, so we're going to do a couple more of those. So I'm going to have him put his butt down. Very nice. And let's stick with the yes marker instead of the terminal. And I'm going to guide him forward. Very light.
Yes.
Good. Very nice. And we need to do a couple more of the stand, because remember, you don't want to start adding a command until you have the physical cue down perfectly. So again, I'm gonna pull forward a little bit.
Yes.
Beautiful. So now he's doing it very nicely.
Good boy.
Now we can start doing the exercise. What's really cool about this exercise, unless I'm psychic, it is impossible for me to pair my physical with her verbal. I have to hear her give the command, and then I have to follow through with the physical cue. So this does a couple things. One, it helps teach the dog commands from a distance, but number two, it prevents the most common mistake that we see across the board when it comes to dog training, and that is pairing, also known as overshadowing. Remember, if two things are presented to a dog at the exact same time, whatever is more relevant to the dog is what they are going to focus on, which happens to be movement. Meaning, if you go sit, remember the dog won't learn the command. The command must come first. So this really helps facilitate that as a part of the exercise, which speeds up the dog's learning process. So we're gonna go ahead and begin.
Sit. Yes.
And if Chapo does it, excellent. I don't have to do anything. Remember, when you're the handler,
Down. Yes.
you mark the moment the dog does the behavior. So you have to be paying attention to your dog completing the behavior before you mark. Beatrice is doing a great job.
Stand. Yes.
Very nice. And he's doing a little bit of paw movement, but that's not too bad. Let's increase the distance a little bit each time.
Down. Yes.
And notice Chapo's focused on Beatrice.
Wrong.
And now she said wrong, so I have to be ready
Good
to guide
boy.
Chapo back into the down position.
Sit. Yes.
Very nice. Also
boy,
notice I'm not
Chapo.
applying the pressure so fast that Chapo doesn't have a chance to respond. Once she says it, I start sliding my left hand down the leash to guide Chapo
Good.
into the position.
Stand. Yes. Wrong. Good. Yes.
And now, since she's progressed a little bit in the training, we can get a couple positions. So we can do maybe 3 or 4 positions before rewarding.
Sit. Down.
Give it a pause though before you give the next command.
Stand. Yes.
So we're gonna do about 2 seconds between the commands. So once he does it, wait at least 2 seconds and then give the next command.
Down. Sit. Stand. Yes. Good boy, Chapo. That's a good boy.
And I wouldn't worry too much about him moving his front paws a little bit. That's because he's excited because you're coming to give him the reward. We see right now it's not moving, and during testing,
Good.
you wouldn't be rewarding.
Good.
Let's do a couple more, and that should be good for him. You can, if you want, you can end it on the terminal marker.
Sit. Stand. Down. Free. Woo! Good
Remember,
boy,
don't
Chapo.
use
That's a
the
good
terminal
boy.
marker
That's
to
a good
release and
boy.
reward
That's
your
how you
dog
do
if you're
it,
still
Papa.
in the early stages of
boy.
teaching a stay. So the rules when we first start teaching a stay, now they've been doing a stay plenty long enough, so that was
Sit.
okay. But when you first
Yes.
start teaching a stay, remember the saying,
Good
if you can't touch
boy.
your pup,
That's a good
don't free
boy.
him up. You want to do that for at least 2 weeks. And the reason, if your dog's foundation of learning the stay, in order for them to be released means you have to come back to them, then they're way less likely to release themselves. And that's how we start the foundation. After you've done that for at least 2 weeks, then you can do what Beatrice did and use a terminal marker from a distance, or even a come when called from a distance, or a release word.